Suit up, strap in, warm the tires, and leave on yellow. Time for the MitsuTimes podcast, presented by MitsuTimes.org, the home of the fastest Mitsubishi cars. With your host, Josh.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the MitsuTimes podcast. My guest today is none other than Mr. Michael Koval. How are you today, sir?
Excellent. Best day ever, mate. How about yourself?
I'm great. It's an honor to talk to you. You're kind of the you're like the Mitsubishi god down under. I mean, it seems like everybody who is into Mitsubishis either knows you or you influence them or something along those lines. So you have quite the influence, and you're obviously very well known.
Thanks. I think it just sounds like I've been doing it for far too long.
A lot of
Uh,
time and money went into it, huh?
oh yeah, definitely. A lot of time and a lot of money, yeah. But yeah, it's all fun and games. I guess if you do something you enjoy, it's all right.
Yeah, and not only do you enjoy it, it seems like you're very good at it. So I think that helps out a lot too.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, it's for maybe those who don't know you. We don't live in Australia or New Zealand area. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're known for in the car world?
My name is Michael Koval, and most people probably know me from modifying Mitsubishi Evolutions. I've had my now I got an Evo 3. I used to have an Evo 6, which I was racing for like, I don't know, 15 plus years, and that became you know, pretty well known around the world, that car. And then now I got rid of that one and I've started with a Evo 3, which I've always loved the shape, and yeah, it's just, yeah, Mitsubishi Evolution enthusiast and racer, put it that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this Evo 3 is a very special car. Why don't you tell us about you talked about another Evo in the past. Is that kind of what got you hooked on performance builds and racing, or was it another car?
Uh, I've always into, fast cars and all that, even since back in high school. And I remember back in the day, even before, maybe even before I got my license, in Australia here, up in Queensland, they had a black Evo 2 from a workshop called APC.
Yeah.
And they were running, they ran in the first 7-second Evo in the world here. Yeah. And once I saw that, I was hooked. That car was it was amazing. It just looked the part, and it just looked mean, and yeah, it was just ever since that day I wanted an early Evo.
And that car has gone on to inspire lots of people. I mean, that's a hugely successful car.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
especially like for them to achieve what they did with, what they had back then, it's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yep. When you think about how they did it without the turbos that we have today and without the engine control
Engine
unit,
management, yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely crazy.
Well, Michael, do you remember the moment when you realized you weren't just a car guy that was going to go to these shows? You were actually going to go racing and compete.
I reckon probably in the early 2000s, was my first. I entered my Evo 6 into, we got this racing event back then called Drag Combat. That was probably my first big event, and ever since then, I was just, yeah, I've been racing ever since. Um, yeah, I guess, you got to be in it. You can't just watch from the sidelines. It's not really that fun.
Yeah, that gets boring after a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Michael, your name is tied to a very unique form of racing, roll racing. What is it
Mm.
that drew you to roll racing specifically compared to other types of motorsport?
Oh, well, I've done many. Like, I've done everything from circuit racing to hill climbs to drag racing, like ski pan and everything else.
Mhm.
And the first time I went to roll racing and checked it out, it's just, man, it was just so much fun, eh? like you get to take your friends as passengers, and you get to race against all these big, fast, crazy cars that you don't normally get to race against, and you get to have your mates in the car recording, and everyone gets to enjoy it. So whereas like you normally go drag racing, yeah, it's fun, but it's only fun for the driver. You can't take any passengers. Um, and especially like with the roll racing, you got the eliminations, whereas you lose, you're out type of thing. Yeah, it's I guess it's just more fun, and the atmosphere at roll racing is you can't even. There's no drag like event that comes close. Like you can stand in the pits, watch the racing while looking at people's cars, and all at the same time. Like it's yeah.
That's definitely understandable. I mean, like you said, it's very rare for a motorsports complex to allow someone else while you're drag racing, someone else in the
Mm,
car.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I know for us, over here in the United States, we do have some roll racing events, but they're certainly not very common. For maybe those listening here and maybe, over in Europe, will you explain um, roll racing to those who maybe are not familiar with it?
Yeah. So basically, here you've got two cars. You roll on about 50 kilometers per hour. The left lane sets the pace, and the right lane you got to sit behind the left lane car. And then once you're cruising around 50 and you're next to each other, the light goes green, and it's go time, man. It's yeah, you go for it.
And basically, the first one down to the finish line wins.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, A to B. Just without the launching, it's how can I say? It's uh, different to drags because it's how can I say? It's better and worse. Like drags is a little bit more tricky because you got to get the car off the line and all that. But with the roll racing, the start is very. There's a lot of games with the start as well. So both lanes have their own advantage and disadvantage as well. So like if you're both racing identical cars, like it's very hard for the right lane to win without if you're starting half a car behind the guy in the left lane, it's very hard. But yeah, I guess there's always you just you gotta practice to see what works for you and your car and the style of your driving as well.
So even in roll racing, it sounds like the start is very important.
Very, very, very important, yeah. Because a lot now, I'll say the top 20 cars, they're all very close, and if you if you lose at the start, you've lost the race already. So yeah.
And it sounds like, and I'm not as familiar with it, Michael, but it sounds like the amount of mechanical failures in roll racing must be significantly less.
Yeah, yeah. You can't even compare it. Like, say for instance, my Evo 3, we took it to the drags. I don't know, once, just to test it out. Within the second run, it smashed the transfer case straight away. Now we've taken the car roll racing for over a year now, and it was still running the same transfer case, and it's no issues. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, a lot more forgiving on the drivetrain.
yes, and I think that's what makes it. You almost wish it was more popular here because when you hear stuff like that, it's like, oh wow, this is something I could really get into without you know potentially breaking my huge investment car.
Mm, yeah, definitely.
Well, Michael, you're known for this Black Evo 3 recently, like you said. You lovingly call it the Koval Evo 2.0. I want to get the story behind this car itself.
Oh, this car. All right, so I had this car at the same time when I had the Evo 6. This is probably my fourth or fifth Evo 3. And I've always loved the shape ever since, initial D, the APC drag car to all the Jackie Chan movies. It's like the shape that, you always wanted, but you can never get. Because only until like 2 years ago, maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, they were never allowed in Australia. There's no compliance for them. So the only way if you owned one of these cars is you had to live in Japan and own the car in Japan for over a year. Then you can bring it in as a personal import. That's the only way you can get one of these. So after, buying this one, I did a bit of research on what was needed to be done compared to the Evo 6 because I've had the Evo 6 and we did so many years of R&D on it, and just I gotta say the Evo 3 is same, but it's so different. Um, yeah, it was like learning again. Like you just got to start from scratch pretty much, and yeah, it was good because you can use what you learnt from the other car and added it to this build, but change it up from the other one. Like it's um, yeah. It was. I was kind of I gotta say it's. I was very. I couldn't believe that not as many people have done this chassis before. Like for that type of build that I was doing. You know what I mean? Like a nice high powered street car. Like when you search it up, there's nothing really out there that stands out. Um, yeah, maybe like you see some circuit builds and like or full blown drag cars, but like nothing where it looks like a car still, but it performs like a drag car. You know what I mean?
Hey, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And Michael, so with the car not being available down there, is it still easy to find parts, or is it kind of a struggle?
Oh, it's it is a bit of a struggle. It is a lot harder to get parts. Um, for this build. Like a lot of the performance drivetrain parts, I had to buy it all from the States because you guys play around with these early cars more than what we do down here. Um, Body panels and all that type of thing. Um, I'm lucky one of my mates owns a JDM King, so he imports a lot of parts from Japan. So if I need stuff, I just tell him to keep an eye out to see if he can find some stuff for me in Japan and bring it over. Um, Other than that, yeah, it's definitely the parts are definitely way harder to get than your later like 4 to 9 Evos.
Okay. Well, Michael, in your experience with all these Evos, what has been the most important modification or upgrade that you've made that's truly brought these cars to life?
Oh, the gearbox. Hey, the gearbox. Um, like a stock Evo 3 engine's pretty good. Everything's normally pretty good, but the gearboxes they're like glass. Just you can't really do much with it. Once you put a dog engagement gear set in there, it just wakens up the car. It just so much faster. It can just handle anything you throw at it. And yeah, I reckon the drivetrain is the major part of these things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see that obviously here as well. It's you can make a lot of power, but if you can't make it go, then it's kind of useless.
Mm, definitely.
Well, Michael, with this car, what kind of power numbers are you running? Is there like a sweet spot for roll racing for power levels?
Oh, at the moment, it's making 1,200 horsepower at the wheels. Um, it's pretty good because the car is so light and little. The only downside we had at the beginning was trying to put a big tire or even the same tire as what we used to run on the Evo 6 because the chassis is so small. But only recently I found a set of wheels in Japan, a 15-inch, and now we've put a 235 tire on there, which fills it up really good, and it definitely makes a big difference compared to the 225s I was running before.
Yeah, to me, it's always kind of a surprise, especially when you have somebody who's never seen an Evo 1, 2, or 3 chassis in person, how much smaller those cars were than,
Yeah,
they were definitely very, very compact.
yeah, definitely. You definitely feel it when you're driving the car or when you got a passenger. Definitely feels a lot smaller than a 4 to 6, which is already smaller than a Evo 7 or 9.
Mhm. So, Michael, what's the tuning process like? Do you chase numbers or do you tune more for consistency? Because we know that a lot of the engine control unit companies come from over there, and obviously you must have the best and the newest technology.
I guess it's a bit of both, eh? Because you need the horsepower to be competitive, but
Mhm.
you need the car to be reliable and consistent to be able to make it through the rounds. So it's A bit of both. Like the car, we can turn it up whenever I want. I haven't bothered. Like we're just playing around with like suspension and tires at the moment, trying to make it grip. That's the main. There's no point putting another, 300-400 horsepower when it's not gripping at 1200 horsepower. So once we get the traction all sorted, then I'll slowly turn it up more and more, and yeah, then it'll be pretty quick.
Well, Michael, when it comes to these high level roll racing events that we see you competing in these days,
Mm.
what is kind of the hardest part that maybe we don't see from the videos? Maybe a behind the scenes kind of thing.
Oh, I guess a lot of maintenance. You don't see, how much time it takes on, going over the car before and after the events. Like, you want the car to handle, you got to get rid of all your rubber bushes, everything's solid mounted. But every time you go to race it, everything vibrates loose off the car as well. So you got to come back, you got to go over the whole car. And then you got like, you're winning your highs and lows. Like, yeah, it's everybody likes winning, but you do have the lows as well. Stuff does break, the car doesn't always go to plan, and yeah, I guess it's just a part of the racing. You got to, you know, be able to take the good and the bad.
Yeah, for sure. And I always think it's amazing to me people who aren't familiar with solid bushings. I mean, it'll rattle every bolt on the car loose.
It's yeah, you can only imagine. It's the car, the maintenance of just going over the nuts and bolts of the car. Yeah, it's a whole another job.
But it's
Yeah.
very important. Obviously, you don't want a wheel and tire separating at high speed.
Yeah, that like doing all the solid makes the car drive so much better and just more safer and reliable.
Mhm.
But yeah, same deal. You just got to go over everything and just everything just vibrates loose. And as long as you keep on top of it, then it all works and it's all good.
Well, Michael, what has been over the years you've won some very big events. What has been the race or event that has meant the most to you personally?
Probably maybe like even my first roll racing win here in Sydney. That was a good one because back then it was just GDR, GDR. Every event was like GDR's winning, and then to come out with like a H pattern Evo and just dominate, it was just yeah, it, no one expected it. You know what I mean? Like for a little four banger to come out and play with the big boys and actually win, that was really good.
It doesn't get much better than beating a GTR at any form of motorsports.
Yeah, definitely. Because I guess with the Evo, you're always the underdog. Like even yeah, the Evo goes quick now, but you're racing these 2000 plus horsepower GDRs. Like yeah, like they're naturally they should be beating you because they're running double the horsepower of what you are. You know what I mean? Like even at the moment now we're racing, the Evo is still so basic compared to what all these other cars now. Like the competition, like you're racing against twin turbo Lamborghinis with like over 2,500 horsepower. These GDRs where everyone is like sequential billet block and like pro mod turbos, and it's just like it's a whole different ball game compared to what we're running in the Evo, where everything's still cast block, standard gearbox, just a gear set in there, like it's still a H pattern dog box, like there's no one else that goes out and races a H pattern dog box here at roll racing. So it's good to go out and beat all these sequentials, and especially like paddle shifts and all that, and you're still there driving and swinging the gears around.
And you could still drive the car home.
Yeah, well, another funny thing because most people go these days on trailers or tow trucks or whatever to the event and home, whereas me, I still drive it to every event, and it's funny because you can do really good. People go out there, they watch you race all night, and then driving home, you'll pull up next to them at a set of lights, and you look at the look on their faces like, what the heck?
Wow, I can't believe he's driving that home.
Yeah. How much fuel is this guy using to drive home? uh,
Well, Michael, has there ever been a moment like the car got loose or went light and you thought, well, this is the end of this car?
I've had one time where I still to this day I reckon I probably ran over like someone must have dropped oil or something on the track because I went into third gear, first second was spinning, I pulled third and the car just shifted like it turned really hard right and I went to dodge one of the cones and it just clipped it. And then I end up into the next lane. Lucky that I was in front of the guy that I was racing. But no, other than that, not really. Like I'm I kind of try like I'll go racing, but I don't race silly. You know what I mean? You try to race safe. Like if I kind of find if it's dangerous, you don't stay in it and like I don't go ego racing. Put it that way. Like I don't mind losing a race. Like it's not the end of the world for me. I'd rather lose the race than crash the car. Like it's yeah.
And I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And when you see people who stay in it and wreck their car and they don't get to race anymore, you know,
Mm,
I feel like they kind of have to learn that lesson the hard way.
yeah, yeah. So now, I know, these cars are fast and like it can get dangerous. So you just got to do everything you can to try to make it as safe as possible. So yeah, just don't drive like an idiot and don't have a big ego, and you'll be fine.
This episode of the MitsuTimes podcast is brought to you by Haltech. After 35 years in the business, Haltech continues to be an industry leader in engine management and performance automotive electronics. Whether you're sliding sideways in a turbo drift car or pulling high gear in a 250-mile-an-hour Pro Mod, Haltech has you covered with their award-winning fuel and ignition control products. Their flagship Nexus R5 combines the functionality of a PDM, wideband controller, and engine management all in one state-of-the-art vehicle control unit. Powered by the user-friendly NSP software, Haltech gives you ultimate control over your race car with built-in Wi-Fi and oscilloscope functionality. Haltech helps power the world's quickest 4G63 powered dragster, 4G63 all-wheel drive 5-speed, 4G63 all-wheel drive auto, and 4G63 front-wheel drive cars on the planet. They can help you unlock the power. Check out all their products at haltech.com. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at haltechecu.
Well, Michael, you talked about taking the car to the drags and having the gearbox failure and the transmission failure. What was it? Has that been your worst mechanical failure at the track?
Nah, not even close. That's just the transfer case swap. Like back in the day with the Evo 6, before you can buy anything, like man, we used to blow up so many transfer cases, tail shafts, diffs, gearboxes, like everything. Like now these days you can buy everything, so it's everything just pretty much works. The worst one I can remember was the Evo 6 at one of the Cootamundra drag battle events. I think it was the first pass I went out. I didn't. It was. It wasn't turned all the way up, and I did one run, and then it came back. I beat the record, and then the next pass, we went to give it everything it's got, and I went to take off, and it just. I think I slipped the clutch a bit too fast, and it just the whole drivetrain took a hit, and ended up breaking transfer case, rear diff, and hurt the motor in one launch.
Got a little bit every.
So yeah, that was a expensive one. Though.
Well, Michael, we hear a lot on this podcast. People trying a modification, or maybe a lot of times we hear about stroker motors that don't really work out. Has there been a modification or an upgrade that you were hoping or you had heard from other people would make a big difference, but it ended up in the long run being disappointing?
Ooh, maybe like back in the day, because nowadays I've tested like so many different, stuff, and I kind of know what works and what doesn't already. Um, I remember the first time we tried direct port nitrous on the Evo, and it was pretty much like a 400 shot in it. That thing was like it was definitely wild. Like when it hit in any gear, you can be in fourth gear and it would just spray on, and the thing would just torque steer so hard, like it want to break your wrists. Like it's yeah. um, that was one thing. Yeah, we thought that was going to be a game changer, but when it worked, it was all right. But a lot of the times, it was just too aggressive. So nowadays, it's pretty much just a lot of boost and not really much nitrous. Yeah, that was probably one that I can remember.
Kind of finding a way to ramp the boost in instead of that big shot like the nitrous provides.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Michael, do you have any like racing superstitions? Do you gotta use the toilet before each race or anything like that you have to do before lining up?
Not really. Maybe in the eliminations, I try to, you go to toilet before in case if you go through all the rounds and go to the finals, you don't want to be sitting there and you got to go then. But, no, not really. Just try to be present while driving it, and just the cars are fast these days, and you just want to be present and drive it to the best of your ability, because you don't want to drive it half-assed, because you are definitely going at fast speed. So yeah, just be present and drive it to the best of your ability, really. Hmm.
Well, Michael, earlier you talked about, obviously the cars at the top tier of roll racing that you're at are all very fast, and it's obviously very dangerous. When you're at an event, what's going through your head before a run to kind of get in the right mind frame?
Oh, it's these days it's getting a lot worse, because it's there's so many buttons to press on the car, you know, on the draggy, on the phone, to record the video, to make sure you're in the right boost setting, make sure you got the nitrous turned on or the bottle warmer on, and like, oh man, it's like you're at the start line, you're trying to like just zone in, but then you're like, oh fuck, do have I pressed this? Have I done that? Like, have I did I put the draggy on? Like, yeah, it would have been. It's a lot easier when you just keep it very simple. You don't have to do anything. Just go and drive. But these days, like you gotta, if you got sponsors and all that, you gotta promote. Like you can't just drive. You gotta go there. You gotta get content for everyone. Like it's yeah, um, yeah. That's pretty much it. Just make sure I got everything done before the run starts. Make sure everything is all turned on and ready to go.
Well, you talk about these Lamborghinis and GTRs, and it must be a lot of pressure when you're at these events. When you talk about having to do all these pre-flight checks and make sure everything's on, how do you handle that pressure when you're up against some of these serious builds like you're talking about?
Love the pressure, mate. Love it. I live for it. It's, how can I say? That's the best thing about going there, being the underdog.
Hmm.
The bigger the car you race, the better it is, the more exciting it is. You know what I mean? Like, there's I've got nothing to lose racing a 2,500 horsepower GDR or Lambo. There's nothing for me to lose. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm either gonna win or I'm gonna learn something from it and come back and get better. Like it's yeah, I'll rather be in my position than be in their position. Put it that way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's a great mind frame to have. If a lot more people had that kind of mind frame, they wouldn't move on to a different platform or chassis or something like that.
Well, if you look at it, I don't know if you ever seen roll racing here now. It's how can I say? Everyone's the same. You go out there. Back then, there used to be one or two twin turbo Lambos. All right, they were special back then. Now
Hmm.
you go out, there's like 10 of them, or probably more, and
Wow.
everyone performs really well. So they're all very fast. The drivers don't need to drive. You know what I mean? Like it's what are they doing? They're just sitting there pressing the accelerator, and the car's doing everything for them. Like it's I don't know. To me, that's not fun. Yeah, winning is cool, but I'm having more fun. You know what I mean? It's yeah. I don't know. So when the Evo is all done and all set up, it's going to be very competitive. It'll give them a run for their money. But the best thing is, imagine you have a $10 million, $2 million car, and you lose to a H pattern Evo. So yeah.
you've spent a very small fraction of their car price.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, when you talk about, having to remember all the pre-flight checks and make sure everything's on, to me, that really highlights how important a team behind you is. Why don't we talk about how important the team behind you is, and how it's helped you so much with all these wins and being able to keep the car together.
Oh, massive. Without the team, none of this would be like wouldn't be able to do anything. Like if you didn't have the team behind you, because as I said, like after every event, they'll check over the car. They'll to make sure everything is tight, everything is good. We go over front to back after every event just to make sure it's good for the next event. Yeah, it's even with the last car I had, if we didn't have the team there going over the car, like, yeah, you can't do it. No way. Because at the levels that we push these cars, doesn't matter if you buy the best of the best and you got the best engine builder, best whatever, these cars still fall apart. You
Mhm.
always got it. They're so high maintenance. You can't do it by yourself. Like it's imagine like what I was saying. If I'm driving it, and I just got to press a few buttons and that's already still a lot more things to remember. Imagine like you got to do everything yourself. It's too difficult. The cars are the level that they're at is too much for one person to do it without a team.
Mhm.
Yeah,
If you had to be out checking the pressures and all that stuff, it might take your mind off,
that's
having to
right.
be
Yeah,
the right time and everything else.
yeah. You can't be putting the petrol in and checking the tires and you know doing everything else, and you still got to drive as well. And it's yeah.
That's you don't want to distract the driver from their role on the team.
Well, that's the thing. You want to have the car ready to go and just have the driver just to do his job. You know what I mean? Just yeah, yeah.
Well, Michael, let's say that someone out there is listening and they want to build a car similar to the Koval Evo 2.0.
Mhm.
What's the first thing you would tell them to focus on in order to build this roll racing monster?
Oh, make sure you start off with a good chassis because they're so old now. There's so many of them that have rusty or like been in accidents and all that type of thing. Start off with good bones, and everything else will be work so much better afterwards.
I mean, that makes a lot I mean, we're starting to see that with, the Eclipses and stuff. The chassis are getting so old, the wires are deteriorating, and it's
Mm.
almost hard to, find a clean one to base a good build on.
Yep, that's correct.
Well, Michael, let's say that I'm listening to this episode and I'm like, "Oh, okay, this guy's talking about roll racing and not breaking as much parts." And I'm going to the drag strip every weekend and I'm breaking transfer cases and gearboxes and I'm thinking I want to get into roll racing. What's the advice that you would give me if I don't really know where to start and how to get into roll racing?
I would just say just jump onto your local roll racing event website, buy a ticket, go out there, have some fun. Just try to not take it serious. Just go out there, learn it, see how everything works, and if it's what you want to do, then find a workshop that you know that aligns with what you want to achieve with that type of racing, and go for gold.
I think it's definitely one of those things, Michael. Wouldn't you agree that it's something that you just need to try?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Well, Michael, what's next for you in the car? Are you going to keep doing this type of racing? Is there something big that you have planned going on in the future?
Yeah, at the moment the car is still in its development stages, so I reckon we're probably about you know, 70% done, if that, maybe. So I got a new motor ready getting built, bigger bottom end, CNC ported, head with bigger cams and everything you can do to it. We've still got a bigger turbo to go on, and then we just put the new three-way suspension in, and we're still dialing that in at the moment. But once we do the suspension, and then that's all good, then we can put the new motor with the bigger turbo and all that, and you know, turn it up and go for gold.
Well, Michael, let's say that you had an unlimited budget. Would this car still look the same, or is there things about it that you would change?
Mate, it'll look identical to what it is now. I'm pretty sure most of the stuff I've got on this car is, the best money can buy anyways. Even if you threw so much more money at it, it will look exactly the same.
That's kind of what I was thinking you were going to say. This is kind of the final rendition, the final edition of what this Evo is supposed to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, I've been looking for how many years. I haven't found one that even comes close to what mine is. Like it's there's people who have done it differently, like just for drags or whatever, but not to this level. Like the parts and the quality of the build is just, yeah, second to none. I haven't seen another one that comes close. Yeah.
Well, Michael, what's one goal that you haven't hit yet that you're still chasing with this car?
Oh, it'll be good to if we can just smash out a 7 second pass in this car. That'll be awesome. But we'll see how it goes. With the horsepower, like power to weight and all that, it is very achievable. But the car is not a drag car. It doesn't have a roll cage. It's not teched. It's maybe one day we'll do a one hit wonder and see what we can get out of it. But yeah, if we can smash out a 7 with it, that would be awesome.
For sure. And I think for those that are listening that don't know, there's only been one other 1 through 3 Evo that's ever made a 7-second pass. So that tells you how special that is. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
like 20 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
That goes to show again how special that car was to be able to do those times way back then.
Yeah, and then if you look at like for them to run that 7 second pass, and when they put on the dyno, that car made what 1,000 horsepower or just under 1,000 horsepower at the wheels. So it's like my car's got more than enough horsepower to do it. It's just really just dialing the suspension and the grip to get it down, and yeah.
And Michael, thinking back, I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but thinking back to when we used to see that APC car out, campaigning at different races, it feels like the suspension wasn't even that dialed in because it always had that really big squat that we saw back in the early 2000s that Evos would do. So
Yeah, I think with that one because it's how can I'm pretty sure it was like a Hilux rear diff. Like the rear end was like completely non-Evo. You know what I mean? So like you can kind of compare it, but not really because mine is everything is still Evo. Like that's the main thing. I want to keep the car just like still an Evo. Like everyone's like, oh, why don't you put 5-star or do this? I just like I want people to look at it and be like, man, that's Evo 3. Like it looks exactly like how Evo 3 is supposed to look, minus the wing at the moment.
Well, Michael, outside of racing, what is it that keeps you motivated to keep pushing this car forward and forward and forward?
I guess I don't know. I've always been competitive by nature. So motivation, nothing like it's normal for me. Like I've always been into cars ever since I was a kid, a teenager. So and then with my work as well. So I work in the automotive industries and I deal with workshops and performance shops all day long, and it's just yeah, I just really I just like giving it to the bigger cars, eh? That's what keeps it fun. Like going out there in the being the underdog and giving it to all these bigger GDRs and Lambos. That's yeah, I reckon that's the most exciting part.
And that's kind of motivation enough for a lot of us, right?
Hmm. Hmm. You're kind of being the, it's kind of like the Robin Hood of the racing scene.
I never thought about it like that. That's perfect. Well, Michael, where can people find and follow you on social media? Because I feel like they have to see what you're doing with this car, the amazing roll racing, and you're also, not just racing, you're also winning car shows and everything else.
Yeah, you can find me. I got a YouTube channel, Koval7. What else? I got Instagram, which is just Koval __ Michael, and then I got Facebook and TikTok, both under Michael Koval.
Right. And then, Michael, at the end, I always give people a chance to give a thanks or a shout out to anybody who's helped get their car where it is, or anybody who's helped them get where they are in life. Is there anybody that you want to give thanks or a shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the sponsors, so like Osmond's Racing, GFB, Go Fast Beats, Raceworks, Elixir, Plasma Man, Precision Turbos, Car Mods Australia, High Speed Engineering, Motul, Will from JHH, Mark from GT Pumps, and just mainly like my wife and family for just putting up with me.
You got to have the family behind you, otherwise, if you're fighting at home, you're never going to be successful on the track.
Yeah, definitely. She's don't worry. She's seen all the ups and downs. In the, you come out after you win a race or event, you're all happy, and then the next one you come back, you're like, don't want to talk to anyone or whatever.
Ready to sell the car.
Nah, yeah. I think I'm at a point. You can't sell it. Like it's just, yeah. You just live with it now. Like I've been doing it so long, like you can't win everything. You can't win every race. So the main thing I learned with the old car is you got to go out there to have fun, because if you're going out there to just win, it becomes a job and it's not fun anymore. Like even with my white car, when we were on a winning streak and we used to go out there and win everything, and when we used to come second, like most people are over the moon for coming second. No, it was like we just went to a funeral. Like it was like, yeah, everyone's like, why did we lose? Why did we not come first? Like it's. So I guess you just got to go out there and just have fun. Really, try to have the most fun you can, and yeah.
That's such a great way of looking at it. I hope that definitely inspires me. I hope it inspires other people who are listening. Just because you lost an event doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
No, it's some people take it to heart. You lose a race. Well, I don't care. I couldn't care less. Like I've been doing it so long, and like even with the last car, we've won. We won it 6 times. I was the first Evo there to win it, and I don't even think there's many other Evos that have. Like even to this day, I'm pretty sure I was the last H pattern car to ever win a roll racing event. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Michael, it's been such an honor to get to talk to you and share the story of your Evo and your life. And I have to thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. I know you're a very busy man, and this has been such a great episode. So inspiring to get to talk to you. And I wish you nothing but the best going forward.
No worries. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it heaps. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the MitsuTimes podcast. Check out our Instagram and Facebook for daily updates. Get added to our list by going to MitsuTimes.org and clicking Submit a Slip. Thank you to all of our sponsors.